we're here.
Here.
We're here.
We're here. We're here. Okay, so you know what this is about. You know, I told you what it was about, but it's a little bit. Hold on, let me get this
Okay.
Let me get my notes up here because you know there has to be a thing that is said. Okay. So I am with the incomparable Starfire.
Oh, thank you.
Host extraordinaire.
Thank
And,
you.
I asked you, before we get into it, I asked you for your bio. It's extensive, girl. It's extensive. But I need you to know that this interview wasn't about what you do.
It's who I am.
Who you are. Yes.
Okay, because you can't do what you do in the way you do it without knowing who you are.
Exactly. So my spirit woke me up maybe 4:00 in the morning. Okay. And I've been listening. I do this deep dive in, like every now and again, I do this thing where I reprogram myself during my sleep. So I allow my phone to be in my room with me. I put it on airplane mode, try to, knock out all the crack. But, all the 5G waves all in the bedroom. But I got woken up in the morning because this is how I get all of my questions during the witching hour. That 3.
Come on.
You know what I mean? I get all my questions right then and there.
Right on.
So what came to me was this, and it's not even memorized. It is something that I need to say to you. And this is what it is.
Okay.
It was, there is an air about you that resides outside of you that embodies a quaff that feels like love. It travels in. And I know for me and for others, we are immediately hit with it. And there is an immense need to start exploring the atmosphere, to find the source. That's what my encounter with you was like. I was met with your frequency and vibration before I met the host that housed it.
Wow.
That's just what this exchange of energy was. And I immediately felt like a kid in high school. Like, oh my gosh, I need to be friends with her. Like, where is she? Like, who is she? The popular kid? Like, it was so overwhelming to the point that I needed to talk to myself, like, what's going on here? What is going on here? I have never experienced an energy like you before. Okay? So that just needs to be said. That just needs to be said. And I'm going to just go ahead and put it out there. Put it out there. So,
that's great. That's great.
With that being said, who is Starfire?
Wait, I gotta need a second. Because that is so beautiful. It is so beautiful to to be intentional, right? About how my energy, right? I made, and we might get into this, I made with an opening, enveloping aura. So when I step into a space, the way that I'm created, the way I'm mechanically designed, because we're all designed with unique gifts, and my energy is opening, enveloping. So it naturally does come on. Even if I'm not in a position where I'm facilitating community, togetherness, connectivity, I'm just in a space where everything is opening and enveloping. And it took a minute and a while for me to learn to trust that. There was nothing I needed to do but to be me and to show up. And so that really, it really touched me I stand in gratitude for that, because and I don't take that for granted, right? I think we can be very cavalier, and the fact that the way that we encounter other people in our humanity, and that is embraced. And then when we got together, it was like you and I were just giggling together. We were like, okay, yeah, like, I love you too. Like, you're fabulous. You was out there slinging them chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
You was out there working, and we was all. And it must be said. Shout out to Janine Cook. Shout out to Ida's Bookshop. Shout out to Harriet's Bookshop, because Janine is masterful in the way that she's able to know the right ingredients together and just let it sing. I think I was the trumpet girls were trumpeting.
Oh,
I was that was an
that took
energetic
me out.
that was an energetic force field that I wasn't ready for. I was so charged by that we had to do the second what is it called? Trailblazer store. I was messing up the name of Hatton Township Equity. And I was like, Hatton Townville. Because I had to come back into my body. But to know that my energy, my presence is able to make that shift is really amazing, because it's affirming. Because like you say, in order to be who we really are, it takes work. It takes self-work. And what you do so well and what you do intentionally is, I'm gonna show up, right? I'm gonna show up in my light, I'm gonna show up in my darkness, I'm gonna show up in my joy, I'm gonna show up in my illness, I'm gonna show myself having this conversation here. You gonna see me walking on the thing, you gonna see me cooking one day, but you're saying I'm showing up, right? Because we have these things of coaches and facilitators. I'm living this thing. Oh man, I didn't show up for myself today. That's okay. Like, I'm still showing up for you all to let you know this is how we live. So it's living, it's StarFire is me. It is my answer to becoming the person I always was, right? It's a name that it affirms who I am inside, which is a star that fires the environments that I'm in, that are entered into correctly, that being a part of that experience lights me up. I'm a type of person, like, I am inside my house, I'm recharging in my space. I need time. We learn that because, especially as women, right? As Black women, we just go, 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 go. There's no time to stop. And even I'm noticing now, as I'm starting to mature, right? Aging with grace. Because I see some bad women, honey. They in their 60s. I say they bad. And they are so bad. And they look amazing. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
This 60 is not the 60 from 20, 30 years ago.
Beloved, looking good. Okay, looking good. And I'm like, okay. And what they say is, what you do now in my 40s is going to matter in what I do in my, and to recognize that I'm transitioning. Like, that young soul is in me, but now I'm becoming this woman now, and getting to know what the woman needs, because my mind don't know. My mind ain't connected to my body. My mind said, we finna turn up. Like, go right past all the markers. I'm tired. I need to hydrate. My body shifts and changes if I'm not aligned with a very disciplined regimen, that I don't have balance. And also to give grace for what I never was taught. Like, some of this stuff I never was taught. Like,
for me is damn near all. And I had to study myself. I'm studying myself.
That part.
That's how I got here.
That's
how
part.
I decided to be a transformational coach for women over 40.
That part.
Because there is something that happens that is we're not aware of. And we're met, a lot of Black women are met with confusion as to what's waking up inside of them. You know what I mean? And we tend to move straight to a negative space, like, I'm going crazy, like, I'm depressed, this, that, whatever. We don't realize that those triggers, those happenings, are a guiding force to tell you to tap in. Stop looking outside of yourself.
Come on.
Outside of yourself. It is about what's going on inside of you. Everything outside of you is a reflection of you, honey. And if you haven't gone to the source,
come on,
you're not about to fix any of this. Anything you see, you're not about to fix any of this, because this is false.
Right.
What's going on inside is real. So,
yes, and that is where I couldn't have said it better. Yeah. And we live in it's almost like we live as ourselves, right? There's and to build a womb, I'm talking about a sanctuary. My home is filled with love. I'm loved here. I could be dead tired. When I go into my home, love is in this home, right? Rest is in his home. And I have pockets of, if I want to go to Ida's, right? Or if I want to go to Coffee Dreams, if I want to go to Harriet's, And
Mm-hmm.
I have sisters, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
folks, I have a family where I can go and just rest and recharge.
You
And
got charging
so
stations.
thank you. And how
Mm-hmm.
we cannot listen, it is so serious. It is so serious. If I do not honor myself and I'm not correct with my inner man, I will not make it. My
Mm-mm.
dad was an incredible dude,
Mm.
amazing dude, a force in the community. This brother died at 47.
Oh,
47. I just turned 41.
yeah,
You understand? Like,
yeah,
what do I need to do? Or
yeah.
this idea that you have to age and you didn't, like, I was looking at I was walking the city looking at a mural and they showed the life cycle. And you went from age and then what does it mean to
Yeah,
like that you become
yeah,
like, I don't have to, I can be in my faculties, right? I
yeah,
can age with grace. And there is a time you have to face yourself and you
yeah.
have to be willing to, there's a lot of times culturally who we are as women, who we are as Black women that
Mm-hmm.
are like signposts. And that
Yeah,
literally in my times of dark nights of the soul, before you
yeah.
got this vibrant, you know, it
Mm-hmm.
is work. Okay.
It
It
is
is
work.
work. It is not an easy process to do that work. It is not an easy
Not.
process to face the things in yourself and that self sabotages you based on conditioning
Woo.
that's not even yours. Okay.
Social
Like,
social media makes this look like all you have to do is take a bath. And it's like, I mean, that's cute. I love a good bath. I take a few of them a week, but
not a bath.
we need a little
Get
bit more seasoning on that because
listen,
it's
listen.
not. Let me tell you something. I got so off track because
Mm-hmm.
you know how we talk about this balance situation,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get into this
Mm-hmm.
this feminine and masculine energy.
Absolutely.
I tend to I lead I lead with feminine energy,
Mm-hmm.
but when I need to work with my masculine energy, I kind of only choose that and kind of leave my feminine behind. Like,
I
oh,
feel
I
you.
forgot we was married. I'm sorry, boo.
Uh-huh.
We in this together. Like, she'll
Right.
give me everything I need, and then I'm off
Right.
with masculine trying to get it done and not trying to
Right.
get nothing she got to say. I have
Right.
a
Right.
tendency to, and I broke my foot.
Right.
I broke my foot. Remember the last time I seen you? Oh no, I was sitting down. I was on a scooter with a boot on. You
Yeah,
probably
but the
didn't even know.
first time I saw, wait, not the first time we met, you
No,
was a scoot magootin. You
no,
was
the last time at the fish fry, you
right.
came
Oh
in like
yeah,
for a
yeah,
second
yeah.
and roll out.
Oh, I did, I did.
Yes,
Oh, y'all be cooking.
I broke my foot, and of course, I had to. I nothing is coincidental to me. Like, you know what I mean. Everything is a moment to deep dive to go into.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
what was that about?
Right.
And I had to look that up with the right. It was on my right foot. It was down the steps. It was during this time. It was what the date. It was the day after an earthquake. Like, I went in and everything was pointing to
Uh-huh.
you got off track. You got off track. You ran with the races and you didn't you ran with the races and you're not doing what we were supposed to do.
What
We
the
were supposed to be
plan?
working.
The
Yeah.
plan is not. Listen, I know that full
Yes.
well. Even now, I know like there's a sweet spot. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
get into the sweet spot of like this is it. Like this feels good. Like this. Oh, I'm in it. It's like a discipline, and it takes a lot of discipline to get there. And then I lose it, and that's okay because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, even when we I don't know if Nina Simone says this, even my mistakes are masterpieces or something. I think
Absolutely.
Nina Simone said that, or some amazing being said that. But I'm gonna say Nina. Let's just say for the record, Nina
Let's
Simone
go with
said
her.
that.
Let's go
Let's
with
just go with Nina because we love her and
her.
we
Right.
appreciate her
Right.
and her contribution to who we are and everything. So we'll say Nina Simone said that. That
Mm-hmm.
even our off track moments, I'm starting to give myself grace because I'm like, oh, okay. How do I refine? I'm going out and what my body needs, the pockets of rest. And I get it. I've been in seasons. And then you do this thing, you're like, dang, how did I let myself get here again?
Right.
And like I am trying to meet those places with love.
Mm-hmm.
And since I turned 41, I was like, everybody come to the light. You know, it's like
Yeah.
sometimes we have seasons where we heal in darkness. And
Yes.
and it's a dark night of the soul. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is deep, it is dark, it is ugly. And if a lot of these folks would be real about that, it's not just a
Yes.
pretty picture that's like,
Yes.
because to me, then it's not real. Because if I can't talk to you about the humanity of it, then you're just a puppet for a message and a pawn, and you're not really about transformation and Black women really being who they are and being beautiful and liberated and amazing, and knowing that you're not giving nobody's authority. You're telling me to check in with myself. I'm very wary of folks that want me to look at them as my source, right?
Yes.
Versus guiding me into me and being a guide to how I illuminate myself, how I can get free for me, right? So that we can be at these places because you live this thing.
Yes.
And it's a human thing to live. And listen, we had this conversation today, honey. But when you have your conference in the future, hello.
Come on now.
When there's a conference where women in our 40s and over 50s are sitting down and when women are talking, the real, because what happens is the world outside of us is only getting crazier. So if I do not have a womb inside that tells me this is happening, right? I have an inner guidance system. I have a map that says this is how your unique individual you're supposed to move. It don't matter. You need to listen to your instincts. Absolutely. You need to be and learn, because we didn't know. I didn't know how to take care of them. I knew pockets, but not the general, and that's not sustaining. And so I'm becoming the person I need to be to do what I'm called here to do. I can't be that until I am that. Let's just start that. I am that, right? We are that. Already. We are both all that, right? And we know the dreams in our hearts. We know the things that we are here to accomplish. And it is being mature enough and evolving to handle it. So because listen, pre-40s, I did the life of hard knocks. I didn't bumped into life like them bumped into me. I am not the type of person that you can tell me not to do that. I will touch it. Experience is my teacher. I have a very experiential role. I have the beautiful scars internally, externally to prove it, but I have the wisdom extracted from that experience. And to understand what you talk about, our mind versus our souls, or our masculine versus our feminine, like, hey, we all need to work together. So now at 41, I'm like, okay, y'all, everybody, all the shadows, all the not self tendencies, all the secret self-sabotage. Hello, all the y'all, we're having a conference. Everybody come to the light. All the secret stuff. Come on board so that we can all get together and all know that in order for this to happen, the things that we want, beloved, we all need to be on the court, because here's the thing. The things that they become wisdoms for the other for others, and you get to a level of because it's about humanity at this point. All our uniqueness is from my humanity, the grace to know and to pull back, to know I don't always have to be on, right?
I think the idea, for years there's been this thing that goes on about the environment and how humans we're going to become extinct and all of these things like this. And our media and our educational sources, the ones that are actually not really educating us on what it really is, tend to make us believe that it's only about like plastic, or it's about, the smog, or, you know what I mean? Like things like that. When in all actuality, it is because we have been stifled. The human race has been suppressed, repressed, and oppressed. And a lot of that has to do with our feminine aspect. And I'm not even talking about feminine, but our hearts. Our hearts are so heavy.
The tender parts of us. The parts of us that need to be soft and
nourishing, the nourishing part. Like we've just gotten so much with take, and there's nothing being put back. This is why people like you exist. This is why people like Janine exist. This is why people like
you exist. Exactly.
And others. Because and many others. I truly believe that we came back here for a reason.
That part.
And it damn sure wasn't just to buy a house and a car. Okay? It's more than that. I believe, and I don't even, sometimes I don't even want to use the word believe. I use that for the
No.
I
There's
know
knowings
this.
that you know that as a truth for yourself.
Yes,
And
I
you know
know
that
this.
and no one can take that,
Yeah.
right? There's ways that I'm like, and when you ask for that, lessons will come, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? And to me, I can be a very emotional person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all that beautiful fuel and energy that's there to gather people, it can be, if I am not aware in my personal intimate relationships, I can be very like flippant.
Mm-hmm.
I can be very much like, what you say? Because that's my
Mm-hmm.
defense mechanism. It'll come out like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And I'm like,
Because you
wait a
are a
minute.
warrior too.
Exactly. And I'm like, no one's like, you need to,
Calm down.
it's I responded. I was at a, I was, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and they had asked me like, I don't know, I had gotten like mangoes, and they were like, do you need me to put something? No, I don't need you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just answered like, no, like real sharp. And I was like, no, because the
Yeah.
power that we possess and the way in which we speak and people remember it. And I can do that with someone I don't know
Mm-hmm.
because there's a level of professionalism there. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to do what I'm here to do. And I'm here to service this person, but how do I treat the people that love me with that same type of care,
Yeah.
especially in my intimate relationships? Because that's where we get most comfortable, right?
Yeah.
That's where we get, so because we know love is there, so we're not so like, let me think about how I speak to where my home is. How
Mm-hmm.
am I pouring that into myself? How am I giving myself it's so much grace, because what you're asking is to individualize yourself in a world that's created to homogenize,
Yeah.
which is why children ask who you want to be versus who you are. And
Yeah.
you're right, all
Yeah.
that stuff is good and dandy, and we're still building,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we are born in the correct time. And I don't know about you, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, I, as a human in this realm, I want to exhaust every piece of life, because I would like to be an ancestor or spirit guide or somebody. But as far as coming back into this human form, that's
No
not
mas.
for me. I'm
No
good for that.
mas. I know exactly what you mean, because
I and
that's
there's a
why I
level of
love.
enlightenment. There's a level of
Yes.
enlightenment in this life to know, okay, I have sacred knowledge of something deep inside of me. I have, and now it's funny, right? Because to think about it, sometimes even in a season, and I just started to see the bloom of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff, and I had to get out of my head that I know anything. I'm just
Yeah.
I wake up every morning. I know there's things I need to do. I know there's things I need to accomplish, but life is going to teach me. Nothing is against me. Everything is about even the
Nothing's happening
uncomfortable
to you. It's happening for you.
for you, and to
Mm-hmm.
live that out, like to authentic, to talk about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, oh wow, now we're in seasons of sharing. This is such a sacred conversation that we're having, because
Yeah.
it's one of many, right? And like a lot of times when all the stuff comes in, I'm like, what matters is each step, the
Mm-hmm.
consistency, the
Yeah.
way we show up, the way we build each other up. And the world is going to say, well, where are the places of true light? Because
Yeah.
right now with social media, things are getting exposed, right? And things are
Mm-hmm.
getting undercover. And you really have to walk a line of be what you say and say
Yeah.
what you do. Because thank goodness my reckless days was before Facebook and Instagram. Okay. There might
You
be
tell
pictures
it.
that comes out, a mugshot or two. Okay, I own that. Okay. Listen,
Yes.
I am clear,
Yeah.
but no one. It's about authority and power, and when my authority is in myself, it affirms. This conversation affirms, right? So when you say it's up, what well, we already know the game is game, and we already know what type of time it is, and people can say wow, because everybody's not at this part in their journey. It
Yeah.
took a lot of cultivation to get to this bloom. Now it's a time of organization, because we know that the first season of is the most sacred time. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you get that first bloom,
Yeah.
how can you make sure? And I have one of my dear friends has a beautiful property, and that's her love language, her garden. And
Mm-hmm.
she talks about knowing the soil, and it's so much in how we're disconnected to nature,
Yep.
how we're disconnected to our ants, which is the sun, how we're
Yeah.
sun beings, how being in a city and not
So
being
much.
oxygen, grounding ourselves, just sitting down and just sitting in the elements is such a way of fueling our souls, because everything is telling us who we're not and making us afraid of who we are. And that has to be background. I'm aware that this exists, but I don't, I have a role, right? I have a mission. I'm here for a purpose, right?
We have to zoom out.
Right.
We have to zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture and realize where you're placing. I just posted a video on my channel that this is going to be on. It's 10 ways to raise your frequency. And a lot of it has to do with, it's through inner work. Like, it doesn't have to be all of the things that you think. Like, just being aware of the thoughts that are running through your sea, your water, the being aware of those thoughts is a way to raise your frequency. We don't even realize the latent things that are running in our streams that are putting blocks in between us and a different experience, a different experience. I have a love for Black women that is true blue. You understand? Like, this is why I started doing this. I started doing this, and I needed to, I just had to. All I kept hearing is, I'm tired. People are not happy with their lives. And I mean, when I say not happy, the level of wanting to yourself
absolutely
is on high. I mean, it's wild. So many women are just tired. And I know that when we get right, everything will be all right.
That's it.
And you could tussle with your mama on that one. It ain't up for debate.
Nope.
It's not up for debate. And I do feel like the more of us that start talking more, the more of us that start expressing more, the more of us that are more welcoming. Because what happens is, like you said, your energy is a walking open heart chakra. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. And that's what we need. The more people that go on the tours, the more people that see you in your presence, that is the more that they are getting healing. You are a source of healing.
That part. And
healing.
Yep. And we could do that. Like the room for right. It was the room to write, that experience. Yeah. I was so moved by that. I was so touched. Yeah. Like the gentleness and the way you were serving us with love. You know what I mean? The team, like, that was so delicious. And then we had like the conversation, and Lorraine Carey was there. And then we had that soul gospel brunch, and we just were filled. And Janine was like, you want to speak to the people? I'm like, I don't know what to say. Okay, right on, let's do it. And it was just like, that's such a space for all of the beauty of who we are to be loved on in that way. And this is why we're here. This is why because guess what? We have to manage that, because when we want more, how do you handle this? Listen, the things that we want will happen when we have a solid foundation. Yes. Like I want that joint solid. Okay. Yes. By the time I'm 45, it's solid. So so I know what works and doesn't work, and I can learn myself, right? Don't you feel like in your 40s you're just starting to come awaken to yourself?
It's the wildest thing. It's like,
whoa.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. No. I thought I was waking up at 37. But now it's like, wait a minute. When I see my daughter's 28 years old. Me and my wife, we have 3 kids together.
Oh, I love it.
She has a son and a daughter, and I have my daughter. And our oldest are both 28.
Wow.
And then we have a 22-year-old. And I'm looking at them like, oh, poor things. You really think you know something? You know absolutely, because I know absolutely nothing, and I'm 42. So I know you out here dumb as rocks. You don't know anything, but I'm gonna let you go though. You understand? I'm gonna let you go. You know, call me when you need me, but like, yeah. So I know what you're saying. Like, I feel the same. I feel the same way. Like every day I learn something else new about.
Right,
And you
right.
know what's so crazy? It's like when you were talking about the many different layers of yourself. I also did
Uh-huh.
a video about the multidimensionality of us and allowing all those pieces of us to
Mm-hmm.
stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I do when I speak, I do a lot of kind of breaking it down technically too, because I I believe that we are intelligent enough to understand this on a deeper level. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you've
Absolutely.
never heard it before. This,
Right.
I may not be speaking to the you now, but I'm speaking to yourselves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking to yourselves. And once your cells understand this, they will then
Mm-hmm.
translate it to you in a way that you truly get it.
Exactly. Which
So
is mm-hmm.
just opening up to understanding that you are more than a mother, you are more than a
Mm-hmm.
sister, a
Mm-hmm.
co-worker, a wife, or this and that, or whatever, because we get hung up with the titles.
Come on. And
As we
because
know,
of
the
titles,
titles have a
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
bio, and
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to live to that bio. One of my biggest things that I tend to tell everybody is, I think you forgot that you get to define everything, even the words you use.
That part.
You get to define it. You decide what kind of woman you are. You decide what kind of mother you are. You decide what kind of vessel you are. You
Mm-hmm.
decide it all. And that's what this is about, getting back into your own sovereignty. Remember,
Right.
like, yo, I control this.
Right.
I
And it's
control
yup.
this.
Yup. Yup.
I control this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just my biggest thing is reiterating to women that you have to take back yourself.
That part. That
And the
part.
fact that you are totally depleted, my babies,
Mm-hmm.
my ladies, y'all are totally depleted, not even realizing you out here giving from a vessel that's like blowing powder. Ain't nothing in it.
Right.
Ain't nothing
Right.
in it. So when you run up on people like yourself, you don't even realize you getting fed, baby, straight from the teeth. You
That's
getting
it.
fed. You getting
That's
fed.
it. That everybody
Okay?
under the sound underneath, and the idea like you have to and culturally, right?
Yeah.
Historically, psychologically, we don't even own ourselves. Okay? If we understand that even being a womb, being a womb man,
Mm-hmm.
right? In this young country, right? We don't
Yes.
know about the stories of how we are warriors,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
we functions as empresses, as rulers. That's not told in our American
Mm-hmm.
narrative. It
Right.
is it is you was raped and your body was sold, and
And they keep
and
trying to keep on telling you that
yeah,
story. Just keep it
exactly, and
going.
conditioning you to the trauma of who you are
Yes.
first. And so my authority is in me trying to, listen, the thing that I know that I'm is that I want everybody to be free. I want
Yes.
every woman to be unlocked. I want every individual to understand that their sovereignty is within themselves. And however you define that, as long as you're honoring yourself, because if I, that's my answer.
Yeah.
Okay, when I see stuff in it, I go, okay, time to do the work, inner work.
Yes.
Time to be the person, time to be the change.
Yes.
Because we say these things, right? I know you've been I know you've been in places, right? Where you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting down and you're invited to places, not places like what Harriet's, because Harriet's what Harriet's cultivates is pure and utter
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah.
Like you gonna get
Yeah.
it. You gonna
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Whatever we come in, whatever Harriet does, whatever Janine Cook is a part of, it is
You gonna get this
whoever
joy.
whoever Janine brings into the fold,
Mm-hmm.
whoever, from workshops to poets to musicians to myself to yourself, we're gonna feed you, we're gonna educate you, and you're gonna be reminded of who
Yeah.
you really are. And
Yeah.
that's why these experiences are so vital,
Yeah.
right? Because we are the thing. I am the thing, right? And so I'm starting to think it differently. I was sold celebrity. You're sold influencer. You're
Mm-hmm.
sold fame. And that's no shade. Like, I love to be friends of them, but what I want is to understand the wealth, the power, and influence resides in me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And who and how do we care for that garden,
Yes.
the gentleness. And this book is that Harriet's machetes are forged in soft rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by
Mm-hmm.
Sana Crispina, and it is incredible. It
Okay.
is a book that is a song to Black women on the softness of how we are. And
Mm.
it allows us to relax. And also, and these are one of the some of the women from the writers workshop.
Mhm.
Ladies Sarcasm has a book coming out talking I'm fine, to talk about
Mhm.
what it means to not be fine. It's just all these
Right.
creative energies. And like, we study the Harlem Renaissance. We study these movements of creativity, of sources. We are
Mhm.
that. And I
Yes.
think about, wow, what is the impact that our connections together is going to mean 30 to 40 years down the line? What type of woman do I want to evolve to be? A woman of
Yeah.
grace, a
Yeah.
woman of wisdom, a woman of power, wealth, and influence that creates. I
Mhm.
want to create. I see things that don't work. And I'm not trying to
Mhm.
talk and have a whole bunch of meetings. Let's do it.
Let's
And
just
so,
yeah.
and life will, what it is now because we've
Yeah.
lived, right? To
Yeah.
be enter into things correctly.
Yes.
I am made where life comes to me. I'm not meant to initiate my life. I'm
Mhm.
meant to exist in my life, and I have an opening and developing aura, and life will give things to me.
Yeah.
I have a sacral response that says, uh-huh. I have to listen
Mhm.
to that. Right? I can't make decisions when I'm an emotional high or an emotional low. I
Right.
have to learn because if I'm high, I'm like, yes, let's do it. If I'm low, I'm like, nope, I don't want it. To
Mhm.
honor my moods. I'm a mood, and like creative people are very moody people.
Yeah.
We are very we are
Wait.
sad.
What is your sign?
I'm a Gemini, but I'm a
Okay.
Gemini, and
Okay.
I'm a Gemini, Earth, Leo Sun, and Taurus Moon. But also, I got introduced to human design, which is a study of uniqueness
I,
and individuality.
yeah.
And that's the quote on my wall: "Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself." I have that. My energy advisor, Charlotte Theta Hartwell, who is amazing, does human design readings. And what it does
Mm.
is it's your map of your uniqueness. It teaches you, if
Mhm.
I was a car, what type of gas do I have in my vehicle?
Mhm.
And it's a long process. You're supposed to go on the experiment for 7 years
Mhm.
just to decondition yourself from the things that were told that conditions you away from yourself.
Mhm.
And so, like, you want to tell somebody, yeah, you might go on experience, and it takes 7 years. We don't even live in a culture, you know what I mean?
Right.
That
Well, people
that
can't
it's
even grasp that.
no,
Yeah.
it's like let's get it really quickly. And
Mhm.
like the real work, like the things that people don't know, like you're an answer to your own revolution.
Yeah.
I'm liberating myself first. Like I'm
Yes.
the first person that, and so these things allow me to, it eliminates frustration, right? It
Mhm.
eliminates and it doesn't mean I go through things, but now I have a solid map of like, okay, this is how I best work, so I can show
Mhm.
up. Because honey, 2020, I was burnt out. I was burnt out. I was you talking about blowing smoke,
Mhm.
literally body breaking down and still functioning, still producing extraordinary things. And I'm like,
I know.
this ain't life. This ain't living right here. Something needs to change because I won't make it. I
Yeah.
will not make it. And I have this idea, like, if I follow this and be at 75, I want to live beyond 75, but like I'm just starting to work, right?
Mhm.
I want to work well and do what I need to do. And at 75, I want to be on my Cicely Tyson or my older person and just be doling out checks and wisdom.
You know what? I'm here for that. And that leads me into this. How do you how would you explain this energy of creativity? Like
Mhm.
how would you explain that in a way that other women could recognize it in themselves?
Well, first they feel it when they experience folks like us, right?
Mhm.
They feel it. What it does is it sparks, you know. It's like when I when I tasted what you all created, I felt it. I felt
Mhm.
it in the taste of it. I felt it in the energy of like there's a kindredness in it.
Mhm.
There's a shared experience. It lights inside and it goes, it's scary. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, oh my
Yeah.
God, what is this feeling that's happening to me? Why am I so excitable all of a sudden? This is so
Mhm.
it gets out of your brain, and it's almost like a spark, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it could be a momentary spark, it could be a long time spark. It's a spark. and you feel it. And what you do is you have to cultivate it, because what happens is you have it for a moment and then you go back to what you know before. So it's like following those moments of pleasure, following, oh, this is excites me. If you would have told my 24-year-old self that I would be doing this, they would be like, no, impossible. You wouldn't be living the way you live, loving who you love. This is far, this is outside the box of the plan.
Yep.
And then I always share the story because I had this dream. I have these pictures of myself. Life will give me pictures. So when I was in my early 20s, I had a picture of me where I had long locks and my hands were open up, and I was like living in my purpose. So I had locks for like all of my 30s. I had locks, right? And then I had this picture of me, and I was like, who is this woman? And I was like, is that me? And it was like, and I was coming out this, and I was like, oh, I was bad. I was like, huh? What? Who is that bad? Who, that woman is bad. That's me right there. Okay. So I get different pictures, and I'm like, everything is, and it kind of comforts me a bit. I think one time I was like sitting in stillness, and I got a really glimpse. But it's like we're living. There's always a design. When we come into this world, there's a design path. There's a design character. There's something. And I read this quote that's like, how many, I'm trying to think of the quote. How many burials are filled with dreams that never got fulfilled? Poems that never got written.
Did you say burials?
Like burials. How many cemeteries, like visions of like purposes? How many create? And some people are individuals and some people aren't. Like we were born, and we're not everybody's an individual. Let me not say that. But some people are born as creatives. Like I was just born that way. I always stuck out. Like I couldn't have. It's the way I made. And so what happens is we assimilate. Right? We're conditioned to assimilate to get along. And it's our energy, it's ourselves. So we're able to unlock that and do that. My revolution is joy. Every behind that is calculation, right? My revolution is it's my self-care is revolutionary. So I don't feel bad anymore. And now the people that surround me, they're healthy. They know, like I was hanging out with one of my real good sis. We was at a shoot, and we was finishing the shoot. It was a long shoot, and they was going to kick it and hang out. I had said, and we had written together, and I really appreciate her for saying, and in a moment I felt myself say, you don't have the energy for that. Real strong. And I go, oh, okay. Now, knowing what happens when you say that, your soul says we need to go. Your mind goes, oh, but you don't want to leave. What if you miss an opportunity? Right. Like you need to be around. Da 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 da. And the conditioned thought, And then I said, you know what? I'm not in the mood. I really want to go. And she said, don't ever be mad at me. Honor yourself. Because we've also had relationships where people have possessed us and wanted us to be what we needed for them. And the moment we go to birth a plant, they're like, well, why do you want to do that? What does that mean? And so you start to have folks that beat you, right? Yeah. That and people around you. And it's not that those folks, that's just what you knew at the time. And I always like to go ahead.
You know what? I know exactly what you mean, because this happened to me real life. I didn't know for years. Now we have all the words for the things.
Right, exactly. We had to live it without the words.
Right.
We was out here bumping around.
Definitely without the word anxiety, depression, toxic masculinity, like patriarch. Like that didn't exist in my universe when I was growing up.
Honey,
I didn't know that I had what you would call anxiety within my own family.
Same.
And I thought something was wrong with me because I just didn't go with the flow. Like I couldn't, it was just too, you know what? I felt the tension in the air when the family was around. I felt the argument coming before it even landed. Like I felt all of those things. And like you said, we fall to to what did you say? We said something about being accustomed to allowing other people to tell us how we should feel in a specific situation.
Or being like, you should do this, or like, because of this role, this means this, or because we do this all the time. And we're constantly evolving. And the people that love and care us want to know the new versions of ourselves. they're not holding us to some standard, and
Yeah.
it's hard to navigate when someone is holding me to a standard of before, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. And
that
with you.
John right there, she's in the museum of what was.
Yes.
Would you like to get to know me now? And because sometimes folks are stuck,
Yeah.
and because of what they need to be and what that is. And that's fine. Like, I have grace for that, but I'm going to move forward. And that's the thing about renaming ourselves. That's such a powerful thing to say. I am Starfire. I am Sequoia Star. I am here. This is the name. I have baptized myself in awareness, and I had to walk that thing out. Okay. I had to pay, and you want to be a fire? Well, let's consume every single thing that gets out the way. Let's untie every single thing. I said, well, I didn't know that when I said that, that was going to happen.
That was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
once you make a declaration, your old self is going to tussle with you until
exactly, and comes into line. And I'm like, yep. we need to all be on one accord, because we don't want to. Because guess what? It'll be me. Mm-hmm. And I realize it takes one moment. Yeah. It takes one time, and it's so specific because it could. And there's grace, right? I don't wake up with I wake up with awareness, right? Mm-hmm. But I also know that my pessimism that exists in me is healthy. Mm-hmm. Nobody can just tell me nothing. I'm be like, no. And then I might come around later.
That's exactly what I see. That's missing too. Like, mm-hmm. we the society that we live in has, in somewhat way, under the radar, put in rules to only allow what looks like happiness.
Yeah,
it's the I'm fine. No,
right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
They tend to make us forget. Tend to try to make us forget that one thing is a multitude of many. Mm-hmm. There is no one. Like, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So they have this in society. It's this, everything is. I mean, you see it all over social media. It's only the highlights. It's
not the everyday thing.
It's not what it really, right. what it really is. And right. then we don't realize that we shut off a whole side of ourselves by not allowing the feeling of sadness, hate, just like, not saying that we're supposed to live in it. I'm not saying that.
But it's not all good vibes only. Yeah, it's not that. And it's like those cues are. And when I was realizing that I was self-medicating I am wired, the way I made is that I'm wired with uncertainty. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. And when I don't, I was medicating that. I didn't like that feeling. Like, I'm not sure, but I'm wired. Now I embrace it. I'm like, okay, I'm uncertain about this. Okay. If you talk to me about something and I'm like, I don't know, and I don't think that's going to work out, or oh my goodness, and then it ends up working out. And uncertainty means I'm in a place of availability for the unknown to move, right?
And that's transmutation.
And the idea that I'm questioning things makes sure that I'm only doing things that are true for me, that resonate with me. And if I honor myself. And now I love it, because now I have language for that now. Okay, I understand how you work that way, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the important about my energy, that I'm in a space that I sat down for 6 months last winter. 6 months. It was a time of a limitation, and I hated limits. I was like, why you gotta come here? You're in my way. Da-da-da-da. But in that moment, it transformed me. It literally did the thing that it was supposed to do. Yeah. And now the things that I wanted to be, because I was squeezed, and now I embrace limits. I go, okay, sis, come on in. I didn't know, if the cycles of life bring me into a place of order, let it be order and not chaos. Do what needs to be done. Let me surrender to whatever it needs, and I am willing to listen. But it took time, right? Mm-hmm. It took, because I'm a very strong-willed individual, and the things that I think I thought real hard. So it took a lot of digging underneath the soil. It took a lot of tender, and like, life wants to give us what we want, but not and when we can receive it, and when we can become it. And my sis Anna says, you have a song in you, you have a dream in you, and when you start humming that thing, And I was like, we have to get back to our hum. We have to get
Yeah.
back to the song, our
Yeah.
ancestral song that was always in us, that we babbled, she talks about when kids babble, they speak in tongues.
Oh yeah.
And, and I mean, they're speaking, and then we could get conditioned. All we're trying to do is, I'm just trying to liberate the versions of myself that didn't know. And we're all on one accord. So we all are walking in a direction. And so we can do the work we need to do. And
Yeah.
it is work. Yeah, but it's joy. And do you notice that even though you broke your foot and you got sat down, that life still provided for you in those moments of stillness?
Yeah.
And life has a way of saying, if I do the work. And I'm like, oh, it isn't, because guess what? Are you familiar? And it's important. Are you familiar with French Toast Bites, local artisan food?
Oh
Familiar with that company?
no.
Anyway, I mentioned that she was one of our resident tours. She was 40, I don't know, she was 42. She passed away at 42 because she was going,
When, just
powerful.
recently?
Last year, yeah.
Oh
Sharice, and
no.
but she was young, and it was
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah.
It was shocking. It shook me. And I go, wait a minute. And our sisters grinding, hustling, making it do what it do. And we are tired. And we
Yeah.
don't know that we're tired. And we don't
Mm-hmm.
trust, like, okay, if I do, I'm aware of what happens, but I do what works for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love that. I know that I don't have this, like, I am good in conversation with others. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I am not I am in the moment type of person. So when someone says you should do this, I'm like, that's not how I'm made. And to trust that, because
Mm-hmm.
that's why you're so amazing, because you're amazing at that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if I looked at you and said, let me try it too. And that's the problem too. People think
Mm-hmm.
they could just try to do something. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you're called to do. You're
Yeah.
called to do this.
Yeah.
This is who you are. You're
Yeah.
like, do this video, edit this video, get on this
I
thing.
know. I
You're
know.
and
Yeah.
you are made to have that work.
Yeah.
You can't be no Janine Cook. That's Janine's mission.
Yes.
Like
Listen, that's exactly what I talk about too, is how we forget that inspiration is just that. Inspiration. You're not supposed to repeat and copy and paste and do the
and
same
that's what we're
thing.
doing with our
And
creativity, our
that's what
artists,
we've
the
been
thing.
doing. Yeah.
Right. It's like, listen, this cost me to be this version.
Mm-hmm.
It's cost me. The light is just starting to emerge.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to get in tune. I'm like, whoa, this is happening. Whoa. Somebody wants to talk to me. You
Mm-hmm.
want to speak to me? You want to see what's going on? Okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. All right, great. How can we demystify? Because I'm into being a real person.
Yeah.
I'm into being true, and I'm walking that out. And if what I do inspires you to live your own light and
Mm-hmm.
to trust your own individuality, if I could be a signpost for that when I host, when I am in the spirit of curating energy, that you feel that and get that wave, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a movement, right?
That's
That's sacred practice,
what it is.
right? That is my way, me, of doing it. And I know exactly when I'm speaking. There's sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, you want to advocate, you get to advocate here. How do I
Mm-hmm.
do it in love? How do I know that it's a right timing? How do I know that when I'm I'm emotionally turned up,
Mm-hmm.
relax, go
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. I need to remove myself from this situation. And plus, when I come from a theater arts background,
Mm-hmm.
we get taught as the actors to just pop off like in the moment. That's what makes us good for theater, not for life. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
So like, so how do we do that? So like, I want to be, so we could be so authentically ourselves that
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh man, like she on a whole nother level. We can't even
Yeah.
try to be that. And I'm like, I don't want you to be me. That's a disservice to humanity.
Yeah.
I live my life so that you can be you, that you
Yes.
can know that you can do it and to do the
Yes.
work, because this ain't cookie cutter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna have to tend the garden, and gonna be a warrior of your own garden,
Yeah.
a caretaker of me. No one can do it. I can't control a lot of things. I control what I take in. I control what I put in my body. I can decide, okay, I'm indulging a little bit much and give myself grace to get on back on track.
Yep.
Right. And I have love around me that sees me for me. Right. You're in
Mm-hmm.
a place where you're loved, and that helps too. And
Yeah.
I realize that's a privilege to be loved well in this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a privilege to even understand a different level of love more than, gifts and the word.
Right.
Actually, in this particular time, the word love means nothing. The energy of it and what the feeling of it, the carrots. Love to me now means nourishment.
Yes.
It means
Rest.
love. Yes, and let me say something. Let me say this. The thing that I get from people like you, and I actually was talking to somebody because I was talking about, interviewing you, and I was like, I really want to interview her because I see what I see when I see her. But I do understand that it takes, I read very well. I'm psychic, all of those things. We all psychic. You understand?
Come on.
Do you want to accept it or not? You understand?
Do you want to unlock the magic inside or not?
Exactly. Right. So I knew after my initial, interaction with you, I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, she goes through a lot. And I know this because when you exude something like that, and I understand when you were saying like you have to recharge. Like I'm like that too. Like after a social event, it's like you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta retreat for a second. But I was like, I was talking and I was like, I really wanted to talk to her because I know her story is not what you see when you with her, because somebody like that has gone through the trenches.
Honey,
when they say check on your friends who say that always look like they're happy, I'm like, she one of them. She one of them because it takes a lot to pay attention to yourself. Because one thing we do know with the conditioning as we are aliens when we descend down here on earth, or descend
talk
down.
there. I got you.
You
speak on it. I'm there.
And we have to assimilate to being earthlings. Yes, we are disempowered during our rearing ages. And it takes a lot after being conditioned for so many years, and not just from your household. You got society, you got school, you got all of these things telling you. And if you're black, honey, if you're a melanated being and a woman, girl, you it's hard for you to come back to yourself. And that's why 40 why 40 is such a big deal.
It is.
For some of us, we have realized, like, wait a minute, all the stuff that they said I was supposed to know, do, all those kinds of, they don't resonate with me. I have always had this feeling of, I thought that I was going to die at 40.
Same. No. I always, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, so before I knew this, I was, I kind of had my first, like a little, my awakening in my 30s, my late 30s. So before that, I didn't understand the psychic. I didn't, listen, I survived the crack era. Okay. So with my mama, so I was bred to be in survival mode. So it was I didn't understand any of this. I just didn't understand any of this. So my life felt tiring. I didn't understand how I was only 20 something, but my life felt like I've been here for 50 years.
Right.
So when I just was like, I think I'm going to be done at like 40, but I didn't realize that first of all, death is not death. And there's a difference between a physical death and a energetic death, a version of yourself death. And that did happen to me at 40. That did happen to me. And it actually started happening in my late 30s. And I just realized that if you don't have those, if you don't take those glimmers of light, if you don't take that moment to figure out who you are, this thing is just not going. It doesn't go well. It just doesn't go well. And it's a rough road. But it's all a rough road. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure.
It's
Like
all a rough
it ain't
road.
uh-huh.
But I will tell you, with some level of wisdom, it's way it hit different. It hit different because now you're not blaming anybody. Now you're paying attention. You know what I mean? People think that you're supposed to act off of triggers and all that. No, 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 no. That's just basically a notification. A
Right.
notification to let you know some things. The privilege of getting older and maturing is unmatched.
Yep.
Is unmatched. Don't get me wrong, you know, your little 20s, that was fun and everything. You
Right.
know,
And I'm like, dang,
bop.
I didn't know. I
Yeah,
like
but
my body. I'm like, this right here, this awareness.
totally different. And to stand 10 toes, no matter what, on who you are,
That part.
these things have to be taught. That's why I started my channel anyway, to start teaching people. Like, you don't realize, like, oh my gosh, people don't know how to rest. You think it means taking
Never.
more than that. Like, you need to be taught how to rest. You need to be taught how to be yourself, but you can't even do that until you figure out who yourself is. You
Right.
still operating off of who your mama told you to be, who your daddy, who the school, who all, like, there's just so much to unpack. We are the melanated woman, and I think people see this on social media and think it's a joke. It says that this is the prototype, this is the blueprint. That means we've been here for a real long time. Yet humans are actually young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that means that we came from somewhere else. Then came here and was built with the earth.
Right.
Then decided to emerge from the earth. And you think that we don't need to take no time?
All the time.
All the time.
And time to recharge, like we recharge our devices is so simple. And I only know what works because I've lived what didn't. And I recognize that this is no longer sustainable. If I'm starting to realize that now. I'm like, okay, because what we do is I could go off of sheer energy. I like, my energy power. I have a lot of energy. And one of the things that I'm knowing that is being built is that I'm able to sustain the frequency for a long period of time. Okay, so if I come and host an event like tomorrow, I'm hosting an event. It starts at 10. My responsibility is to maintain the frequency from 10 all the way to 4. I'm like, whoa, I recognize. Okay, okay, sister girl, I know you had a big meal, but you're working 2 hours in. You need to build snacks in. Okay, and I'm going to get bars. Like, what can I fuel my body? Because what happens is I can feel my head spinning.
Yes.
I can feel, I'm like, because the body is the life, it's the temple. Yes. And I'm learning to love this temple because this temple is going to carry me to the duration of the period. And also too, I love what you said about death, because to me, I've already seen how I want to be. I already envision it. I already say that, and I don't want nobody to have a party without me. I'm having my own party. I'm having my own sacred ceremony, and I want to be there. And and then I want to coordinate it. You're not going to do it after I go, because I didn't been that. I said, absolutely not. Won't happen. Let me let you know what's up, what's happening. Decree and declare. Everybody go and declare. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to rest because I'm tired. I have done the work I need to do. And I know I read stories that of like old stories of old wise women who knew who they were and lived who they were, and they knew their mission, and they were able to decide. I had somebody do a reading of me. I was like, oh, I had this feeling that I'm going to die early. And she had shared to me that my spirit had died a lot of times. Yeah. And and so there's this anxiousness that I'm not living. And she had said to me, this is a really good life for you. You should enjoy it. And I go, oh, okay. And it kind of opened me up, the name this is what I you know what I mean?
And I desire this for all women to understand that.
And they will because we are always being, and I could see it. I could see myself being elevated. And I go, okay, you're only in service. I could see it. My dad used to tell me all the time. He used to be like, do not get caught up in your press. don't feel like you have to talk about, be who you are. Other people will do
Yes.
it for you. And I'm like, okay, good. I don't have to worry about, because it's always the next thing. It's the next consistency. It's the next event. And I'm going to do my sacred work to show up. I'm going to do my, even today, coming into this conversation. This is, I'm sharing love with my sister. We're here together. We're sharing together in conversation. Let the words that we speak be of truth and light and love. Let the things be, so that, because someone will look at this in a hard period of time. And like what you said before, we didn't have the language. So I will declare it, I will speak, and I'll say, hold on. Because baby, I wouldn't have gotten to this moment if I gave up. And it's easy to give up. And I get it. I totally get it. Because sometimes we really in hard moments. And it wasn't easy. And thankfully I had love to hold me down. Thankfully I was loved. I had to break down the strong. I had to keep I had to die to the strong woman type.
I know.
I had to tell my friends who were finally okay that I wasn't okay. And they were able to show up for me, because I just couldn't do it. I was sick.
Yeah.
I was so debilitated. Like when I'm aligned, when I'm not aligned or something's off, I'll get like psoriasis outbreaks. Like I have a minor one now. Like I used to have them for a long time. And then I would heal. But then I would go do the practices that got me there before. And it's like I healed myself and healed. And I was like, let me go around this mountain. And now I know, okay, I'm off. Let me go back, because it's teaching me. This is how you have balance in your body. This is how you take the proper nutrients, right? You take the vitamins you need for your body. You drink the water you need. You need to eat this here. I never worked out. I worked out. I've been working out for like a year just for my mental health and well-being, not even thinking about the aesthetics of it, us and loving the versions of ourselves in transformation.
We
Go
think
ahead.
that working out is for a specific body goal, but like it's more than that. I know this, I study quantum physics. I'm an aquatologist.
Come on. I don't know what that is, but that sounds amazing. Can you let me know what that is?
And I
restructure
beautiful. Water. I do solar water. I do chronotherapy. I actually, right before this, I make R sprays, gem essence, floral essence, all of those things. I'm an herbalist. Like I do a lot of things.
That's incredible.
I think, thank you.
No, that's phenomenal, because that's sacred. That's like ancient. That's healing. Because they realize that the system that's set up is not made for me, so I can't use it to heal myself. Like I went to the traditional thing and got sicker. My body can't. My body can't take, like, I could take a Tylenol, ibuprofen. My body doesn't. Right? We've healed.
Bursitis. I mean, you can't tell now, but my face was corroded with cystic acne. I realized that my kidney and liver weren't acting at optimal. They weren't, letting out waste. So I had to heal my liver and my kidney. All the just a whole lot of things. But the point is I want other women to understand that they are water.
Ooh,
and
right.
how the womb is completely connected to the idea of water. I personally believe, and I know, like, folks don't like to use this word, but
speak on it. You use your channel. You say it.
It is a physical manifestation of the divine, and whatever you decided the divine is, it's life. I purposely left this out so that it could absorb this conversation through vibration. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
This is why I talk to women, because I need them to understand that they are water, and water is memory, the same as the womb that makes 3D printed beings. And so, like, there needs to be more conversation around that. I love all of that, but guess what? One of the biggest things that I have found through my studies is finding Black women scholars. And these women because I know that these are fields that we stay away from, because when you don't understand that language, it's like, what are they talking about? Quantum physics, biology, neuroscience. Like I study neuroscience, I study melanin, I do all of that because I would like for people to know more than, like we said, everybody wanted all quick, fast. There is some deepness to what we are. It is more just black girls are magic. Like, nah, like, you don't understand what we really are. Like, we're not from here. Like, we're not from here. And then the idea of totally understand. This is again the understanding that there is no out there.
Right.
Outer space is inside of you. And if you truly believe in that, as above, so below, as within, so without, this outer space is inside of you. So when they say that sun is heating up and this climate change, that's all you. That is that museum of ancient DNA that is in your body that is waking up. Because once it starts to die, it sends out a SOS signal. When they say that we're going into extinction, your cells send out a SOS signal. And what they do is, before they die out, they send out all the information. So when they say that we are in the age of Aquarian and the the age of waking up and all of that kind of stuff, this is what they mean. Your cells are waking up. So that sun is just a reflection of what's happening within you. So I love that. This is what I have to do. It's scary, as I was like, oh my God, a camera, I didn't want to do that.
I love that.
But I know that this is, I've always had this feeling of, I'm supposed to teach people. I'm supposed to, like, I've been playing school for years. Like, right across from me is a vast library. Like, that's what it is. And I know that that's what I'm supposed to do, because I feel like I feel like a lot of people, we decided to come back here to help.
Right. Because we're going to, yep.
And like you said, like, yeah, I'm not really interested in coming back. I've had that feeling too. Like, ain't nothing to do here. Like, ain't nothing to do here. I have this feeling like I've been to Egypt. I've been to, through many different lifetimes. And it's like, you know what? I said, I'm going to come back one more time.
For now, because also there's a new shift happening. The old ways, the old systems are starting to crumble. And the thing about it is, what I'm knowing is that if you know who you are, you're aware of it, and it does it.
Your own belief system.
It's an inner knowledge, because that knowledge is for me. Yeah. I ain't putting it on you. I don't want you to have my knowledge.
Right.
And it moves me to my. I want to honor what you spoke. I want to affirm who you are, as a teacher, as a healer, as a coach, right? As someone who sees and wants to guide and aid people to their truth. I think that's something very special. I think we can take for granted. And what I'm starting to see and noticing, and I'm saying I'm noticing it without judgment. I'm just that the folks that are in positions to teach are not. It's an act. It's a show. It's a Wizard of Oz, and that's fine. But I'm here, and because I exist here, it doesn't matter what that is. I'm going to, and how they can use. They can use our sisters. They can use them and manipulate them, and I don't need to get caught up in that, because I'm here. I just want you to know that your existence is beautiful, and the work that you do, that we do, that the communities that we're able to serve and to be a part of, is about ushering in light. Because when it gets crazy, people are going to have to go. They're going to run. When the systems that they thought were there for them start to crumble, they're going to need light. They're going to need to run. A person like me needs to exist. A person like you needs to exist, because we're going to be like, hey, you're here. Welcome home. Welcome home to you. And and to not get caught up and just notice it. I think I don't know if it's a sacred text that you can walk among snakes and they cannot harm you. I'm like, what does that mean? Or you, because when you know who you are and you know no one can tell you who you are, and everything is affirming who you are, and the people that don't, you let them, you learn from them, because they're only functioning from a place of trauma or pain or hurt, because there's a world, and that it's that when you speak, when you talk about how brilliant you are and how you study and learn, that deserves to have pause. Like when I do what I do, it's magical to me. I'm surprised every time. I'm surprised that I was able to accomplish it. I feel this inner satisfaction and excellence. And I rest. There's a different exhaustion. It's a satisfied exhaustion. It's a successful exhaustion. When y'all out here doing y'all thing, feeding the people, and you go, ooh, it's a eternal satisfaction. I have done well unto myself, and I have done well into others. So it's as we wrap things up. It's just
Yeah.
I want, because once we get to connecting and talking, the rivers will flow.
Well,
And I
listen, I'm
hope,
looking at this iPad like, oh my gosh, I only
like I
got
said,
3%.
but I just want to end with love,
Yeah.
and I want to end with that. This is the beginning. That this flow in waters, and I hope that um, all our ancestors, our spirit guides, all the guides that are for us, individually and collectively, will continue to usher us into who we are. I look forward to the flow conferences for women, right? The rebirths and what that looks like, where water and science with panels and things. Right, right, yeah, right,
Ooh,
where their
yes.
wombs, and that because we're already connected to a powerful to what Harry is, and they already see us, and the women that were in that writers, that we're all a collective individually. And I just want people to know that it's okay if it's hard,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
it's okay, but stick with it, and know that you have this beautiful coach here who is available for you, who that you can trust, because it's about trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I lay here? Can I rest here? Am I safe here? Right?
Mm.
Am I seen here? And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful for us and what we had to do to get to this point. And I just leave with gratitude and the energy of that essence, that you're reminded that we can continue to walk this thing out, because we are created here for a purpose.
Mm.
And we will continue to do the work to make it do what it do, and to show up, because that was confirmation. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep
Mm.
walking, keep showing up, right? Keep
Yeah.
being it, keep doing what you need, keep honoring. It's okay. You got a little off track. You've been a little, that's okay. We know how to get back on now. We're
Mm-hmm.
building the track system, and nothing or no thing. And I'm learning that not even myself over time can thwart the purposes and the divine mission that we were meant to be in this place, in this time, and in this season.
Girl, girl.
And that's that.
That is that.
And it is what it is, and it is so.
Let me tell you something. I love you, honey.
I know you
I
do, and I love
love you,
you. I know
honey.
you do.
I
I
love you,
love,
honey.
and I
And
know
I,
organically we will, because organically an opportunity will come along, and
yes.
I listen. I love it. I want to know. I love the wisdom, the intelligence, the sacred instinction, right? Because we create things. It's in us.
Are you
I
going
was
to
at
be at the Juneteenth thing at Harriet's?
I'm gonna try to pop through. I'm gonna
Oh, okay.
try to pop through. I'm gonna
Okay.
try to come through. And I have like another a whole adventure
I
planned for me
know.
that day. But
Yeah.
guess what? I know it's gonna be fire, because it's gonna be lit, live, and in color. And then Sana will be there doing a workshop.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to bring something for you in the event that you do show up.
I'll make it happen. I will make
I'm
it happen.
gonna.
I will be intentional about being there and popping through. I will find the time, because it's all day, right? It's from 12 to such. And
Yeah,
put me a little iddles and biddles and bits.
I
Little
will.
sign, little bits.
Well, that
Because y'all, little,
a little
little,
something.
listen, a little tincture. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
little piece of something. Because y'all be
yeah,
going
yeah.
fast. Y'all be like, boom, it's over. But yes,
Yeah,
so
listen.
yes,
Well,
I will. I will
Tanya,
be
she's
there.
very,
Yeah.
very technical. She's
Listen,
very
listen,
technical.
but listen. I love the way that y'all work together. Y'all are so beautiful, and I
Thank
just
you.
want to wish so much love and light and energy, and just satisfaction and joy and everything that you're creating. And I look forward to how life will allow us to evolve, and the seeds that were planted in this conversation will
Yes,
become
because
something more.
you'll be
Because
at the
this is
Flow conference. Because now that
listen,
name,
as
you'll be
the
at the Flow
resident,
conference.
hello everyone. Yes,
You'll be at the Flow
as the
conference.
host, okay? And you
Yes.
know, so like this is about who we are. And you're right, I am all those things, but behind this thing is this, and it continues to be so because this is, and so thank you for listening to your spirit, and thank you for following it through. This conversation is full of gratitude, and I will make sure I see you on Juneteenth so we can have that
You so much.
exchange. No,
Thank
thank
you so much.
you. It's mutual. Thank you all.
I knew it. I mean, I'm there.
We
Let me
here.
tell you something. I know I've done something right.
Uh-huh.
To have. I respect the transaction.
It's mutual, right? It's easy. And
That,
if it's not this easy, I'm like, no, we don't need no questions.
yes.
Let's show up because we stay ready. Because we live this thing.
Yes.
I don't need to be prepped. Let's do it.
And before this thing dies, I just want to say that you are a walking, breathing vessel, and the pure definition of representation matters.
Thank you.
You hear me?
Thank you so much.
Your traveling, your journey through all that it took to get you here on many lifetimes, on many planes of existence, through many portals, through many dimensions, and through many realms is not unnoticed.
And it all is coming together finally. That's what it is. It all fuses into one aligned thing. You're like, oh, this magic. And that's why we know, because once you get to that level of awareness and evolution, we've mastered the plane.
Yes. I love you, baby.
I love you back
today.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I'll see you on Juneteenth.
Yes.
Okay. Mwah. Love you all. Thank y'all for watching.
Yes.
Thank y'all for supporting.
Yes.
Make sure y'all come through. She be coaching. She be having herbages. She got what y'all need. She a real one out here. Run it up and book them sessions. I am Jackie Renee, the girl who talks to herself that she can talk to you. And we are out. Peace and love. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.